Hello everyone, and welcome to the webinar dedicated to procedure and incentives for people who would like to relocate in Italy. And my name is Eleonora, and I'm an ITER project manager, so the International Talent Emilia-Romagna project manager. And today I will introduce you to this webinar. What's ITER, International Talents Emilia-Romagna, is the regional program to attract and retain international talents in our region. So today we are really happy to share together with you, Lee, and our expert, some hints about the Italian regulation dedicated to international talent, especially coming from third countries, but also Italians who'd like to come back, so our experts. About the procedures, so meaning the laws, so the visa and the tax benefits dedicated to relocating to Italy. So today we will have two experts together with us from Studio Mazzeschi related to the procedures, and from Studio Expert for the tax benefits. And at the end of the meeting, at the end of the two sessions dedicated to the technical expert, you can come up with all the questions that we raise. So please use the box and the live chat that you have both on LinkedIn and on YouTube to ask our experts all the questions and the curiosities that you have. So thank you again for being here on time. And now let's leave the floor to Luis Macchetti first from Studio Mazzeschi. Please, Luis.
Thank you, Eleonora, for your kind introduction. And thank you all for attending this webinar. I am Luis Macchetti, and I am a senior immigration consultant at Mazzeschi SRL. We are a firm specialized in inbound immigration and citizenship services to Italy. As per Eleonora's introduction, today I will be guiding you through the main procedures for foreigners relocating to Italy. And in particular, given that this is a webinar dedicated to attracting talents, I will be focusing on work-related entry routes, since that's also the most common reason why people are moving here to Italy. So if we go ahead and start with the easiest path, the simplest case is for the EU nationals. If you are an EU citizen, you can freely move to Italy without the need of a visa or a prior authorization. If you intend to stay to Italy for longer than 90 days, then your only obligation is to register with the civil registry, the local municipality. And to be registered, you would need to have a valid passport or ID card, an Italian tax code issued by the revenue agency, and accommodation documents such as a registered lease agreement or a property deed. And you will also need documents proving your employment in Italy. If you are relocating to Italy for other reasons, which are not working, for instance, for study, you will need to show financial capacity and resources to sustain your stay in Italy, together with valid health insurance. If you have family members moving with you, and if they are EU citizens, they would just need to have civil status certificates to prove the family tie with you. But what happens if your family are non-EU members? In that case, they also have, for extension, the same right as you do as EU national, but they will need to apply for a permit, specific permit that is called Carta di Soggiorno for family members of an EU citizen. Are qualified as family members the spouse, the partners who are registered in a registered partnership, as long as in the EU country where you are registered, the partnership is acknowledged as an equivalent to a marriage. Also dependent children under 21, and they can also be the children of your spouse or partners, or dependent parents. That can also be the parents of your spouse or partner. Moving on, I would like to, before moving into non-EU procedures, which are quite more structured, I would like to clarify some of the keywords that you will often hear. The first one is nulla osta. Nulla osta is an official authorization that is needed before applying for a visa. It is basically a green light to apply for the visa that is given to you by the Italian government. Then the visa is the sticker that you get in your passport and explains the reasons of your entry in the country. Whenever you're entering Italy under a work visa, you will be required to sign a contract of stay with the Italian government and with your employer. Basically, in this contract of stay, you will be agreeing on the requirements and on the conditions of your employment in Italy. Holding a visa longer than 1 year visa, you will also be signing an integration agreement, which is generally a commitment to learn the Italian language and also integrate into the civic life. And then last but not least, because this one is the most important for the immigration processes, is the residence permit. The residence permit is the famous permesso di soggiorno, which is the card that you must obtain once in Italy and demonstrate that you're legally staying in Italy as a foreigner. So, moving on to non-EU citizens process, as we said, the process is more structured if compared to the EU citizens. In particular, when entering for work reasons, the general system is regulated by the so-called Decreto Flussi. The Decreto Flussi is an annual quota system where the government is setting a cap on the number of foreign workers that can enter Italy, either for subordinate, as you can see, including seasonal or self-employment work. When it's subordinate work, the employers must apply online for nulla osta during a specific time of the years, and the approvals are given on a first-come, first-served basis until the quotas are exhausted. When it's a self-employment, the whole procedure is in the hands of the self-employer, who will have to apply for a visa at the Italian consulate. So, as you can see, the process can be quite unpredictable and also highly competitive. But luckily, in the Italian immigration systems, there are also exceptions of workers who fall outside of this quota limit. These are, let's say, more reliable applications because they can be filed in any time during the year and without numerical limits. As you can see, it applies to very specific talents like university lecturers, university professors, translators, interpreters, researchers, workers in intra-company transfer, trainees, or subtracted transfers, highly specialized workers that are applying for digital nomad visa, remote workers, and one which I believe is worth talking about is the EU Blue Card, which is a very interesting type of permit for those highly qualified employers who are looking for a local hire in Italy and can also have the chance to relocate permanently, be hired in Italy, and benefit from the tax incentives that we will be discussing later. There are other permits that is important to know, that even some permits that were not originally designed for work reasons allow the holder to work. These include family permits, the Carta di Soggiorno permit for dependents of EU citizens that we discussed earlier, EU permit for long-term residence, which is a specific type of permit that is granted to those foreigners who have been legally residing in Italy for longer than 5 years and upon specific conditions. The residence permit for study purposes itself allows the students to work part-time up to 20 hours per week. And also upon completion of the studies, you can apply for your permit to be renewed into a job searching permit, the awaiting employment permit, or if you receive a job offer during the course of your study, you can also apply for your student permit to be converted into a work permit. So there may be some flexibilities more than you expect in the Italian immigration system. Now, I would like to give you a practical overview of what would be the few steps to relocate to Italy for work in this specific sector. So, of course, the first step would be to prepare the documents for in case of subordinate work with your employer. Then there will be an online application, as we discussed, for a nulla osta. Once the nulla osta is issued, you will have to actually go at the Italian consulate abroad in your country and apply for the visa. And you will receive a long-term visa, and you can come to Italy, sign the contract of stay, be already compliant to start working, and apply for a residence permit. Unfortunately, it doesn't end here. The process will be quite long, thanks to the fashion of Italian red tape. Bureaucratic red tape. You will attend a fingerprint appointment for photo identification and checks of your documents at the police station. And then you will also be invited again to collect your card once ready within the course of a few months. It takes patience. Of course, these steps always requires coordination with the authorities, the time to attend at the Italian consulate, the prefecture, and so on. For those, if you are a non-EU citizen, of course, with a long-term D visa, or if you are already legally residing in Italy, you have the right to apply for your family, your non-EU family we're talking about, to join you in Italy. And the eligible relatives are the spouse, minor children, dependent adult children, and dependent parents. As you can see, there is also the specific case when a parent who is a non-EU citizen is asking for reunification with the minor child who is already legally residing in Italy with the other parent. So for family permits, there are different routes. The standard route, which is also the most known, is the standard family reunification. And this, as we said, applies when the main applicant is already legally staying in Italy, is settled, and in our case, it needs to be in Italy for at least 2 years before being able to apply for this. And the main applicant applies for a nulla osta to the Italian government, and then once the nulla osta is approved, the family can apply for a visa, long-term family visa, and come to Italy and undergo the whole process that we saw before, which is the application for the family permit, then going to the police headquarters for verification of documents and the photo identification, collection of the permit, and so on. This rule of the 2 years legal stay was recently introduced, but it does not apply when we are applying for a family reunification of children who are exempt from this requirement. Another simplified version of the family reunification is the family cohesion. This happens when your family is already in Italy with you as the main applicant, and your family is under a different status. For instance, they came to Italy for tourists. And then they can apply for residence permit directly in Italy based on your family tie. Another possible route is the accompanying family members. This kind of process is applicable when the worker holds a long-term visa for at least 1 year for study, work, religious purposes. And the main applicant can then apply for their family to literally accompany them to Italy. So it means this process starts even before the legal stay in Italy. And the main applicant has to give proxy to someone who is legally residing to Italy to apply on their behalf for a family nulla osta, and then the whole process that we saw earlier. It is important to note that the main requirements to be able to apply for a family permit are to have sufficient income, so sufficient financial means to sustain your family, along with a suitable housing, which is quite difficult to obtain, because whenever a foreigner is staying in a private accommodation and wants to sponsor a family permit, they would need to demonstrate that the house is suitable. And to do so, they will need to obtain documents from the municipality, from the town hall, attesting that the house is in line with certain standards of health and safety with Italian regulations. Other documents that are required, not only in this process, but in all immigration process in Italy in general, are certificates of civil status certificates that need to be legalized and attested, translated in Italy. And this leads us to our next topic of discussion, which is the recognition of documents issued abroad. As I said, this not only applies when dealing with family immigration, but in general, when going into immigration with Italy, any document that is produced abroad to be recognized in Italy must bear legalization and attested translation to Italian. This can either happen through a consular legalization, where there is just the Italian consulate or sometimes other entities, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in the country that issued the certificate to attest the authenticity on the document, and then there must be a legalized translation to Italian. Other countries are part of a specific famous convention called the Hague Convention, and they all internationally recognized documents that bear the stamp, a specific stamp that is called apostille. It's a sticker that attests the authenticity on the document. Sometimes, especially among EU member states, there are some specific conventions and agreements that exempt some types of, in particular, civil register documents or public documents. They need to be legalized and attested and translated because they are sometimes in multilingual format. Now, I have this last topic, which is the one on driving licenses. Of course, when relocating to Italy, having a driving license may come handy. So for driving licenses, also for all immigration procedures, there are rules that differ between EU and non-EU citizens. And whether you can keep using your license literally depends on the country of origin. Because if you have an EU license that is valid in Italy, and you can use it for 2 years, then if you become resident in Italy, you must convert the license into an Italian license within the 2 years. If you are a non-EU citizen with a non-EU license, you can drive for up to 1 year from becoming resident to Italy. And within this deadline, you need to convert your license. But bear in mind that not all countries allow the conversion of your license. Sometimes the conversion is not possible because there is no reciprocity agreement with your country. And then you will need to undertake the Italian driving test from the beginning. So in summary, as we saw, relocation procedures different. There is a great difference between EU and non-EU nationals. But what matters the most is selecting the correct route from the beginning and ensuring to stick up with all the requirements and make sure that they are met. Within proper preparation, the process becomes much more easier and in particular, much more predictable. So thank you all for your attention, and I will be happy to take any question.
Thank you, Luis, for trying to keep at a simple level, let's say, some topics that are very complicated. So, and very connected to the status of every single person. So thank you again. Before leaving the floor to the other expert that we have today with us, I'd like to give you two good news. The first one is related to the fact that this webinar are accompanied by effectively guidelines that we wrote together with the experts that you saw today and that you will see again in a bit. And you will find these guidelines in our website, International Talents Emilia-Romagna. You can download these guidelines for free, and you will find these guidelines in 3 languages, so in English and Italian and in Spanish too. And if you are already in our territory, I mean, in one of the 10 main municipalities of the region, you can go to the local talent office and ask for support. Okay, so you don't have just the guidelines and the webinar, but you can actually have the free support from the municipalities. Okay, so if you're in Bologna, you can go to Bologna for Talent. If you are in Parma, you can go to Easy Parma, etc., etc. You can find the list of all the local support offices in our website again, so International Talents Emilia Romagna. I warmly invite you to write down some question in the box that you have in the live chat, especially if you're a student from the third country and you want maybe to know more on converting your permit from student to worker to stay in our region and profit of the numerous opportunities, working opportunities that our companies are actually issuing. And maybe you also want to know that you can benefit from of some incentives related to taxes. So now I'll leave the floor to Mose Begotti from Studio Expat to know more about this topic. Thank you, Mose.
Thank you, Eleonora. Good afternoon to everyone. Thank you also, Louise, for the very interesting presentation about these immigration procedures. Just want to add something. So should you be one of those who needs to take the exam once more for the driving license, I would like to remind you that in Italy we drive right. So this is, as a starting point, I think it's crucial to know this, especially if you come from the United Kingdom. Besides, I also, before introducing myself, would like to tell you that my English skills are perfect, as like the one of Louise, for sure. But since we are dealing with Italy today, I will speak with a strong Italian accent, so also to let you be more familiar with the Italian language, maybe at the end of this presentation. So let me thank you for sharing the slides. So just a very quick introduction of myself. My name is Mose Tiziano Begotti. I specialize in tax matters for expatriates relocating to Italy. So I spend me and my company, we spend our days in dealing with international people moving to Italy, already living in Italy, or wondering whether to move to Italy or not. I'm the founder of Expat Italy SRL, is a company. We work only with individuals, and we try to help them navigate the Italian system, the Italian tax system effectively. It's complicated. Italy is a highly formal system tax-wise, so we try to make it easy for foreign people. We tend to provide a very practical guidance every time we approach a new problem or a new person, mainly approaching the Italian tax system. So we are talking about taxes today, and mainly about tax benefits. So first of all, from a general perspective, what are the reasons why Italy is offering tax benefits to foreign people or to Italians who move back to Italy? First of all, to counteract the citizen outflow, there are roughly 300,000 Italians who every year leave the country and they go to the United States, to the United Kingdom, or to all the other countries in the world. So obviously Italy needs workers, and so Italy needs to replace those ones who leave with professionals, or in general with people who work in Italy. And so obviously this is the first reason why there are good conditions for individuals who move to Italy. Second of all, the government must support definitely the Italian companies, so also to enhance the local workforce. These tax benefits allow people to move to Italy, and so to find good working conditions, also in terms of taxes. So less taxes means more money in the pocket at the end of the month, and so these opportunities give allow the employers to count on a broader potential workforce, so looking for talents all around the world. Third of all, these people, the audience today, probably you come to Italy, you pay less taxes. So what is the deal for Italy? Definitely, it is, even if it is not intuitive, but this entry of workers, of people to Italy paying less personal income tax will lead to, will boost domestic consumption, investment, and growth in general. So I think it's definitely a win-win deal between Italy and the foreign workers, foreign people moving to Italy. There are several regimes available for people who move to Italy. Today we will make a quick overview of the main four, which I picked from a huge list of benefits for foreign people moving to Italy. We will deal about what we in Italy we call it regime impatriati. So it's a tax regime for workers, which allows workers to pay taxes out of 50 or even 40% of their income. It applies to employees, to self-employed people, and it is definitely very, very, very powerful and definitely working. Then there is, we will address also the benefits for teachers and researchers. This due to the very important activity that these people are doing or will do in Italy. The tax incentive is 90%. So people, a researcher who come to Italy and who qualifies for the benefit, as well as a teacher, a university teacher, so he or she will pay their taxes out of 10% of their income for so many years. We have also a flat tax for new residents. It's currently, after one amendment a couple of years ago, we are talking about paying 200,000 euros flat for 15 years for people who obviously have significant foreign income, so significant that 200,000 per year is a deal. We will quickly mention it. I hope there are so many billionaires in the audience, but then in case, write an email, and so we can address your case specifically. The last one I will address today. So there is important. It does not work in Emilia Romagna, but it counts. It works in other regions of Italy, mainly in the south and on the islands. For foreign retirees, it is possible if they move to small municipalities, less than 20,000 inhabitants, to pay their taxes out of their foreign pension. They could pay only a flat tax of 7%, which is again a very good opportunity. Let us start with the inbound workers incentives. As Elisabetta was saying before, at the end there will be a Q&A session immediately after my overview, so that if you have any questions about immigration mainly, but also about taxes, we are there to reply to your questions. Inbound workers regime. So what are we talking about? First of all, again, the overview of the tax advantage. Inbound workers are taxed on 50% of their income, which is even reduced to 40% for people who relocate with a child. It means that if your income is 100, so you pay taxes out of 50 or even out of 40. It means that 50 or 60, it is completely tax-free. This benefit lasts 5 years. It means that should you move in Italy in January 2026, this situation lasts in 2026, 7, 8, 9, until the end of 2030. For self-employed in particular, this benefit is not only on taxes, but it is also on the social charges, on pension contributions who people must pay in Italy to this entity called INPS, so the Italian pension system. And so it makes for self-employed even more attractive than you could expect. there are obviously is not for everyone. There are some eligibility requirements. Sorry, but you will see if they are not. These requirements are not impossible to meet. First of all, people must, individuals to qualify, must transfer their tax residency to Italy and have not lived in Italy for at least 3 years. It means you become an Italian tax resident in 2026. You should have not been an Italian tax resident in 2024, 25, 24, and 23. Tax residency is a highly complicated thing in Italy. There are many drivers for becoming an Italian tax resident. So I always recommend you talking to a dottore commercialista, or to my company or to myself, to find out how to become an Italian tax resident, and also if you were an Italian tax resident before. The second requirement, and for me is the most complicated one, if you are Italian, you know what to expect. But if you're not Italian and you wonder whether to move to Italy, so you found out that there are these beautiful tax incentives, so you said, okay, I go to Italy, pay attention, because you must commit to be an Italian tax resident for 4 years at least. So again, if you become an Italian tax resident in 2026, you must be an Italian tax resident until 2029. If you leave Italy earlier for opportunities or because you miss your country, pay attention, because you are supposed to refund the Italian tax administration for the saving you made from 2026 on. So think very well before moving to Italy. It's a beautiful country, in particular Emilia Romagna, but think carefully about your decisions. Regarding the professional qualification, they are quite easy to meet. I mean, after high school, 3 years of university, so it can be a bachelor degree at least, or it can be some specialized experience is enough. So again, you need to I recommend to check with the dottore commercialista if you qualify, definitely. So, and also if you're, especially if you don't have a university degree, if your studies are enough to qualify from this standpoint for this tax advantage. The last one is crucial. It is the approach of Agenzia delle Entrate, so of the Italian tax administration. There must be a strong connection between your relocation and the start of your business in Italy. So if you relocate in 2026 in January and you start working in February, there is a clear connection between these two moments. If you move to Italy in September 2025 to attend to make an MBA or to follow your partner to Italy, and then you start working after 2 years, consider that according to the Italian tax administration, you don't qualify, because this tax incentive is to attract workers, not to, in general, to attract people, even if they have the personal prerequisites that we mentioned before, which make them eligible. So pay attention. There must be a very, very, very clear link between relocation and the start of your job in Italy. Regarding the procedures, not a big deal. Once you qualify, if you are an employee, you are supposed to submit a declaration to your employer to state that you qualify for the benefit. It is very important to have your employer on board, because this way you will get the benefit every month in your paycheck. Otherwise, if you don't get it on your paycheck, it means that you must submit the annual tax return at the end of the year and apply for a tax refund. Italy is probably not the fastest country in the world to pay refunds. So my recommendation, if you are an employee, your employer must be on board so that there will be no flaws in the procedure, and you can benefit of the favorable tax regime every month. In terms of for self-employed, it is probably even easier. Once you qualify in Italy, it is you supposed to submit your tax return and pay your taxes. So your taxes will be calculated out of a portion of your income. It can be 50%, it can be 40%. So there is no approval from other entities needed, but of course you must qualify. And so again, talk to a dottore commercialista. There are thousands in Emilia Romagna and on the territory, mainly if they adhere to one ordine dei dottori commercialisti in one of the all the towns in Italy, all the cities in Italy, and make sure that you qualify before moving to Italy, or if you are already in Italy during your stay, make sure that you qualify. For teachers and researchers, there is only one slide. So let me say that it's due to the importance of the activity of teachers and researchers in Italy, and due also to the massive outflow of researchers and teachers in the past outside of Italy, moving to other countries and to America and so many others, and in Europe as well. So consider that the tax benefit is huge. So you are entitled to pay your taxes out of 10% of your income. So 90% of your income is tax-free. This tax benefit lasts 6 years, but it is easily extendable up to 13 if you have children, or if you buy some, if you use the saving to buy a house in Italy. Regarding the eligibility criteria, consider that people must have 2 years of experience in terms of making research or teaching outside of Italy, and you must provide proofs and evidences of what you made. And obviously, teachers must have a valid university degree. That's for sure. Again, the purpose of the regime, I said it at the beginning, so it is very important and crucial for the not only for the Italian culture, but also for the Italian development, to have skilled people in university and in other entities for the benefit of everyone. That's why this tax benefit is so relevant. The last 2 slides today. So flat tax for new residents. Again, if you are becoming Italian tax resident, just take in mind that you not only have to pay your taxes out of your Italian income, but also you have to pay taxes out of your foreign income. Let us assume that your foreign income is huge, because you have investments, because you rent buildings and so on, or for other reasons, obviously working reasons. If taxes due in Italy out of your foreign income are more than 200,000 euros per year, consider that you can opt for this flat tax and pay just 200,000 euros flat per year, no matter what. You can even include your family member into, if it's a family with all these rich people, or even the children, everybody can pay 25,000 euros each. This will not only be a good deal in terms of taxes, but it also will simplify operation to report taxes. It will also make you exempt from paying some wealth taxes, in particular on foreign properties, which are significant. There will be no taxes for foreign inheritance, for donations. So there are several reasons to make this tax benefit extremely interesting for people who obviously have a significant foreign income to declare. This regime lasts 15 years. It is possible to opt out at any point in time if it is no longer convenient. And again, it's an opportunity. The last one to mention today, so for foreign retirees, if you have a pension outside of Italy, you retire, you want to move to Italy, you want to enjoy the Italian food, Italian weather, Italian temperature, blah blah blah, move to the south, move to a municipality with a population under 20,000 inhabitants. In this case, you would pay your only 7% taxes out of your pension, instead of the usual rates in Italy, which are far higher than 7%. There are also some other incentives, so you are exempt from paying. I already mentioned the wealth taxes before. If you opt for this tax regime, you don't have to pay wealth taxes out of your foreign properties. If you have some financial income, for example, also this financial income is subject to the 7% rate, so it's definitely a game changer if you retire in Italy. The tax benefit lasts for 10 years, so it's in the long term is an opportunity moving to Italy, and of course you will be one of the pioneers to repopulate these small villages, but not so small, because 20,000 inhabitants is probably not so bigger than you could think. That's it for the benefits. So if you need support, it's not a sales advertisement, or at least a little bit, so you can contact us for any support. info@expat.it is our mail, or you can visit our website at www.expat.it. So I had 20 minutes, and so the time is up. So thank you again, Eleonora, for the opportunity, and then so I'm very curious to see if there are any questions for me or for Luis.
Thank you, Mose, again, and Luis, for your presentations. While waiting for the questions raising from the curious people that are listening to us, maybe I can start with some questions, and I'll start from Mose. So many people who are attending, who are asking us for an Italy info desk. So we do this service that is about having an interview, a free interview with anyone that wants to know something about relocating to the region. So from this kind of technical question to more general question, also related to the well-being in our region. So, but the majority of them, especially when asking about the work environment in particular, they're often asking us about the smart working opportunities. And it's not just about the opportunities, but maybe it's also connected to the tax benefits that you were talking before, right? So if you can tell us a little bit about that part.
But it's not mandatory for people who move to Italy to work from an office. So if you work for an Italian entity, definitely, and you opt, or you have the opportunity to work from home, you are completely entitled to get the benefit if you qualify, definitely. If you work for a foreign entity, and it is a typical case. So I work for a foreign Dutch entity. I'm in Italy. I did not tell my employer that I was in Italy. So consider that technically you work in Italy, but from another hand, there are very important rules for employers in Italy. If the employee is in Italy, the employee must be protected. If something happens at home, there must be an insurance. There must also be an IMSS coverage. And so it is very important that if the people who show by your desk, they say that they work for a foreign entity in Italy, they must make sure that the employer is following the Italian regulations. But so nothing prevents them from enjoying the benefit if they work from home.
Thank you, Mose. A question for Luis, connected to the conversion of visa from student to worker in particular. So which visa do you recommend the most for students from third countries while being here? I mean, they came as a student, mainly they are master students, so master graduated, I mean, and so they start looking for a job. So they have this kind of visa, but this is a very short time visa. So what they can do while looking for a job, and then as soon as they found a job.
So if the student has completed their study cycle, they can actually apply for a specific permit by enlisting within the registry of workers who are attending for a job opportunity with the local labor office, and then they can apply for a specific type of permit that in Italian is called the imprenditorialità degli studenti, which is actually for awaiting for job opportunities, and it has a 1-year validity. So they can benefit from this kind of permit while they're looking around into the job market. Otherwise, if they have already in hand a job position, or if they are already sustaining for themselves as self-employers, they can apply for the conversion of their permit into a work permit. Specifically in the case of subordinate work, they can, thanks to recent changes in the last 2 years in immigration regulations, they can apply anytime during the course of their studies, actually. They don't need to wait for the degree to be in hand, and they can apply directly themselves without the need of a sponsor. They just need the documents attesting that they have received the job offer from the Italian company and apply for the study permit to be converted into a subordinate work permit.
Thank you, Louise. And actually, I can see a question from Razier. Maybe we can see the question. Thank you. So I guess you Alf answered the question. Maybe you want to say a little bit more. Thank you.
Well, you must minimum income. It can be demonstrated through, as I said, the job offer. So, of course, if there is a condition for subordinate employment, there must be a job offer in place, and it must meet both the national bargaining collective agreement that is applied to the Italian company offering the job position, and also it must meet the requirements of minimum income that's set forth by the law in Italy. So, which is, if I'm not wrong, about well above 8,500 euros per year. That is the basic requirement that demonstrate the ability to sustain themselves while in Italy. There is also the condition to have suitability accommodation in Italy, as I discussed. It's the same that I did present while discussing the family permit.
So thank you, Louise, and I'll say it again because it could be important to know that all the information that Louise and Mosè are sharing with us today are in the guidelines that you can download for free from the ITER International Talents Emilia Romagna website that you can find also in the live chat. So I don't know if you have any questions. I guess no. So thank you everyone for being here. Thank you to our expert today and to those who were listening and from home. And maybe you want to be there next week on the 7th of October, in 10 days actually, and on the 7th of October for participating in the webinar dedicated to companies. I know that today it was for people, but actually the information related to the tax incentives also applies to companies. So this could be really interesting if you as a worker or a person who is willing to become a worker, so you were a student, maybe you can also tell this part to the company maybe you want to be hired by, because this could be like an incentive for them to hire you. Because the majority of the Italian companies, they don't know that the information that Mosè in particular shared with you are related to also to international talents, because this law, one of the law that Mosè was mainly talking about, is very well known in Italy as the brain drain law. So it's everyone is thinking that this law is only dedicated to, I mean, the tax incentives are mainly dedicated to Italians who are willing to come back. And this is not true. So maybe you and the company too can profit from this kind of law. So please feel free to download the guideline for companies too, and to take part in our next meeting on the 7th of October. And the last meeting, the last webinar will be on the 20th of October. And so if you have Spanish friends or friends who are Spanish speakers, please maybe you can forward the information to your friends, because we will have this webinar for them in Spanish language. So thank you again to everyone, and see you in 10 days.